Hi, Tashidulek. Welcome to the New Tibet Media. It's about Tibet and Tibetans. Today, we're going to talk about the Flame of Truth, a torch that's coming in San Francisco on November 10th, 2012. So today, my guests, we have Mr. Kunjok Tashi, who is the president of Tibetan Association of Northern California. Welcome to our show. And Giovanni, Bay Area Friends of Tibet, president. And I have Tenzing Rangdo, the Tibetan Youth Congress president. And we have Jack from Students for Free Tibet. Thank you so much for coming to the show. And before we start with the about the Flame of Truth, can you tell us something, your role as a president of Tibetan Association of Northern California?
Thank you for having me on this show. As I've been introduced as the president of the Tibetan Association of Northern California, we are based here in the Bay Area. We have a small community of about 2,000 Tibetans living here in the Bay Area. Small yet very vibrant and very close-knit and very proactive. The essence or the real, one of the objectives of the association is to preserve the Tibetan culture that's near extinction right now. And we have a cultural center here. Basically, we have different programs for our community, including the children here, in which every Sunday we have programs for them to learn the basic tenets of our culture, and then also talk about the Tibetan diaspora as such. So basically, that's what we do as a Tibetan community here in the Bay Area.
And Giovanni, can you tell us about your role as the president of Bay Area Friends of Tibet?
First of all, thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate that. Love to talk about Tibet. I'm the president of the Bay Area Friends of Tibet. We're one of the oldest Tibet support groups in the United States, founded in 1983. We were founded in reaction to some terrible tragedy that happened in Tibet, and a group of Tibetans and non-Tibetans came together to form us. And over the years, we have acted as a bridge between Tibetans and non-Tibetans to help assist Tibetans in their struggle for independence and freedom, and to help preserve their culture. And so as part of that, we put on Tibet Day cultural fairs all year long, help the community on a local, national, international level to help fight for a free Tibet.
Thank you so much, and we're looking forward for the Tibet Day. So we're going to talk about that later, in between the show probably. And Tenzing Rangdo, the president of Tibetan Youth Congress, can you tell us about your role and your participation as a president in the association, in the Youth Congress?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me here.
Thank you.
I'm president of Regional Tibetan Youth Congress in San Francisco. Based here in San Francisco, our San Francisco Regional Tibetan Youth Congress, our main objective is to strive for the unity, integrity, and dedicating oneself to the task of serving one's country and people under the guidance of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, the Supreme Leader of Tibet. And in a way, we fight for the free Tibet, and then work closely with the Tibetan, Northern Tibetan Tank, in preservation of our culture, language, and identity, and also for the freedom struggle.
Thank you so much. And Jack, can you tell us brief about the SFT and your role as a member of the Students for Free Tibet?
Yeah, and again, thank you. So as a member of Students for Free Tibet Berkeley, I work with students on the UC Berkeley campus and the Berkeley City College campus to raise awareness on those campuses about the Tibetan issue, as well as raise awareness throughout the greater Bay Area as a means of working for freedom in Tibet. So we work and hold cultural events on the Tibetan campus just to raise awareness of Tibetan culture, and screen films, have political events to let people know about the rich political, cultural, economic heritage of the Tibetan people as a way of working towards Tibetan freedom.
Thank you so much telling us about your role as the association or members. So we're going to go into the main topic that we're going to discuss about the Flame of Truth. So let me talk to Kunjala. So tell us about the Flame of Truth, how it started and where it is and what are the situations going on right now.
Well, this was a project, a global project initiated by the Tibetan Parliament in Exile based in Dharamsala, India. And essentially it's to convey the message of the Tibetan people in Tibet because they're unable to do that from Tibet. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the reasons of having this global, the Flame of Truth rally. And the second is, like till date, since 2009, we've had 58 Tibetans who have self-immolated for the cause of Tibet. They had only two messages or the objectives of self-immolating themselves. One was to ask for the return of His Holiness the Dalai Lama back to Tibet. And then the second one was for the freedom of Tibet. Mm-hmm. And then the third objective of this Flame of Truth is to urge the United Nations to deal with the current crisis in Tibet. Mm-hmm. In addition to these three demands, there were other demands as well. It's urging UN to respect the resolutions that the United Nations passed in 1959, 1961, and 1965. In addition to that, the fifth was, like seeking United Nations to send an independent investigative team to Tibet to study the real crisis of Tibet, the origin of the crisis that's prevalent in Tibet right now. And then finally, the final objective of the torch is to call on the United Nations to fulfill the aspirations of the Tibetans in Tibet. So these are fundamental demands or the reasons of having this Flame of Truth rally. This was initiated, as I said earlier, by the Tibetan Parliament in Exile, and it was launched on His Holiness's birthday this year, on 6th of July in India. And it's, as I said earlier, it's a worldwide kind of a program. And the torch is, the North American leg of the torch started on September the 2nd, which is the Tibetan Democracy Day. And there were two segments of the torch. Once that started from the Canadian part, that is culminating here in San Francisco on November the 10th. Mm-hmm. And then the American leg of the torch started in Washington, D.C., and that's culminating on November the 3rd in Minnesota. So this is what the schedule of the torch rally is for this moment.
Thank you so much for the brief information about the Flame of Truth. And Giovanni, can you tell us about what are your thoughts and hopes of this torch coming to San Francisco?
Well, San Francisco is a city where actually represents the United Nations. It represents what the United Nations stands for, which is for the freedom and self-determination of all the peoples of the world. All the peoples and the countries and the peoples in those countries to be able to decide their own future in peace. So with this torch relay coming here to San Francisco, we're honoring not only San Francisco and the values of the San Francisco Bay Area, including Berkeley, standing up for free speech and freedom of all peoples. We are doing this also to remember all the Tibetans in Tibet who don't have a right to speak freely or express their thoughts, where life in Tibet has been a living hell. The Dalai Lama has said this. The Parliament, the Tibetan Parliament in Exile, who passed this resolution to proceed with this Flame of Truth torch relay, has said this about how bad it is in Tibet. And that's what I think people in the general public in Berkeley and beyond should know, that practically every Tibetan family has suffered in Tibet through horrific barbaric acts by an occupying force that has absolutely no right to be there. And so what this is a chance for San Franciscans, for Berkeley people, for